Back to the Future. An ingenious screenplay by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale does an excellent job of combining humor and science fiction, the time travel adventure with the teen comedy, and the fish out of water story. Everything in the film just blends so perfectly. The performances from the actors are terrific all the way. Michael J. Fox makes Marty McFly a likable hero who we root for right from the start. Christopher Lloyd does a fantastic job as a noble scientist, and Lea Thompson does great double duty as Marty's mother and the young teenager who falls for her son. Crispin Glover also does great work as Marty's timid father. With the wonderful scripting characters, it all leads up to one of the most heart-pumping and triumphant finales in history. Back to the Future also succeeds on a technical level, as we do believe that an 80s-era teenager could be transported to 1955. The special effects, makeup, sound work, editing, costumes, and set design all to be commended. However, it's Alan Silvestri's brilliant score that adds the most to the film. The Back to the Future theme is one of the best film scores I've ever heard, and the little music cues are composed to perfection. Back to the Future is a wonderful, funny, touching film that will never age and will definitely continue to thrill audiences like myself for years to come. "2001: A Space Odyssey." Stanley Kubrick's most impressive achievement, this science fiction film is like no other. It's not only one of the most visually impressive films of all time, but also one of the most thought-provoking. Kubrick's use of Richard Strauss really brings upon all senses, and every time you watch the film, you catch new ideas to discuss. From the opening shot of the monolith to the ape hitting the bones to Hal's classic immortal words, 2001: A Space Odyssey is breathtaking from start to finish. Plus, the Stargate scene never fails to impress me.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Stanley Kubrick really was one of the masters of cinema, and 2001 solidifies that perfectly. Magnolia. Paul Thomas Anderson crafts an effortless film that brings together some of the finest actors today and gives them one of the most impressively written screenplays yet put to paper. When he makes a scene in which all the characters sing to Amy Mann's Wise Up, it's not just because it's hip, but because he's talking about how even though people will feel something different than somebody else, there's still something that makes them the same and connectable. The actors work along with the score to provide a very soothing experience. Despite the film's 3-hour length, not once do you feel like your bottom is aching like you would while watching a bloated epic. You're amazed by the imagery presented on screen and the way the story cuts back and forth between everyone. Magnolia is a film that excites me even more in each subsequent viewing. This is a film to experience blindly and one really worth seeing.
And this will all make sense in the end.
City Lights. One of the most touchingly funny films ever made, Charlie Chaplin manages to combine emotion and comedy effectively and perfectly. From one funny scene to another, Chaplin makes us laugh gleefully, and then he caps off with a bang in one of the most emotionally sweet endings ever captured in film. This is one of those films that really managed to grow on me as it went from really impressing to instantly becoming one of my favorites. Like a lot of Chaplin's other work, City Lights makes me smile all the way through, and let's just say, it's not the last time you will hear his name pop up in this video.
Is that really your idea of how to run a newspaper?
I don't know how to run a newspaper, Mr. Thatcher. I just try everything I can think of.
Citizen Kane. Constantly named the greatest American film ever made, you might think when placing the disc in that it's hardly worthy of its praise, but Orson Welles manages to really pull you in with his excellently crafted story and the breathtaking cinematography. Kane may not be the kindest gentleman, but he certainly is fascinating, which probably adds to the everlasting appeal of Citizen Kane. Orson Welles set out to tell the story of one man and made a masterpiece in a classic motion picture. His performance, direction, and screenplay are all perfect in every way. His supporting players, which he brought to Hollywood with him from the Mercury Theatre, are all impressive as well. Greg Toland, the cinematographer, also deserves heaps of praise for his brilliant camera work and lighting effects. Citizen Kane has been looked into and analyzed by many critics, and almost everybody has a different interpretation. I, for one, view it as a story of a man who, despite getting a lot of money, never really became happy. And that one word is Kane realizing that his death is probably the best thing to have ever happened to him. Kane becomes so insanely wealthy and successful that he forgets what life is all about, which explains why he just melts away in Xanadu for all the years after his second wife's divorce. You could analyze this film for eons, but it would be a better use of time to just go and see Citizen Kane.
You're right, Mr. Thatcher. I did lose $1 million last year. I expect to lose $1 million this year. I expect to lose $1 million next year. You know, Mr. Thatcher, at the rate of $1 million a year, I'll have to close this place in 60 years.